One more try here. Let's see. The old French defense. Now here he decides to play a Sicilian. That's bold. That's a good choice, by the way. D5, you're probably going to end up in an exchange French. Okay. Now, as a general rule, neither side in a Sicilian defense wants to make this capture. Why? Why, you ask? Well, black can take back with the C pawn, and he's bolstering his pawn center. He's liable to play D5 soon, and he'll have, if white trades, white and black takes back with the C pawn, even though white has a queenside majority, black has a center pawn majority. See, one of the things about the Sicilian, structurally, the open Sicilian is stronger for black than it is for white. And why, you ask? Well, the first reason is that the C file does more things for black than the D file does for white. Black can often even have a backward pawn on D6. He might have pawns on E6 and D6. And he might even have that pawn up on E5. But black does have either a 2-1 or a 2-0 pawn majority in the center. And those pawns are quite handy. So we don't want black to take towards the center with his pawns and get D5 in. If black can get D5 in safely in a Sicilian, he's usually doing quite well. Now, conversely, why don't we want to take on D4? Okay. First off, this knight has better ideas. One of the typical and well-known strategies that black needs to implement is to attempt to get this knight to C4 at some point because of the pressure it puts on B2, potential ways it picks up the bishop pair. Look at the main line of the Sicilian Dragon Yugoslav attack. Okay, and we don't do this right away. We prepare for it. So, but once white takes here, it's white's help black out. Now, black can even take with the D pawn here and give up castling because he has no weaknesses and nothing's developed. But taking with the B pawn is fine. Now here he's trying to restrain this, but I think white's getting himself into a disagreeable position here. He's not developing pieces, so we do have a glaring weakness on D4. That's not a permanent weakness like we would say. What weaknesses what weaknesses does either side have here? Okay, it's not really one we'd call a weakness, but black has some activity. Because of this, black is able to develop a piece now. Black can play bishop C5, and then maybe the idea is to play queen B6, putting pressure down here on this vulnerable square. So D5 immediately would be a mistake. There'll be a mass liquidation on D5. The queens will come off. Black will have an isolated queen pawn. Let's see what black does. Okay, this makes sense. Attack this. Although this may come up here. And the knight has to go back home. Okay, so white missed this. Where are you going to put the knight? Well, I guess you could go here. You have a square. Okay, all right, we'll forgive white for not pushing E5. Okay. Tall pawn. Now he's able to get it in. So now black will still have one center pawn to none. You can now take with the knight, but take with the queen. Now, as I say, black did not make this move. White did. White moved black's queen to D5 because he's going to take back. But black's ahead in development. Let's see what happens. So black needs a little time to get the king safe. Where you could play bishop C5 and maybe something here may materialize later. we could play a safe bishop d6, bishop e7, and continue developing. We could go threaten a mate, by the way. That might not be a bad idea. We could play the bishop to d6. Okay, getting on this diagonal. I have a feeling he's going to play bishop b7. Yeah, it actually looks like a great move. White is going to have to weaken his position. Now, if this bishop were... Yeah, let's have some fun here. I'm just going to burn a move. How does White defend his position here? See, the f-pawn is pinned. How does White defend this mate? I think he has to play here. And, I mean, this clearly has to be good for Black. Up a pawn, and, you know, maybe with tempo, shift it up to the rank and run it over here. You know, that's checkmate. Oh, well. So, yeah, this was coming. But now, you know, we can get a check.
Check.
Might as well check. Now, castle. Look at Black's lead development. You know, White needs to develop every major unit on the queen side. You know, he's moved 2 pawns up. But he's got a queen, a bishop, a knight, and a rook that have to get in the game. You know, he's down 2.5 tempos here. And Black is fully mobilized and ready to pressure down here. Okay, well, I got a tempo back. Now, would I go here? And the answer is I probably wouldn't. Where would I go? I would go over here. Okay, now, this can lead to some potential checkmates. We're looking for, well, I don't know. We're looking for one of these things where we can check him on the H file, and he can't go back to G1, but I guess he can go up to G3. We may not have anything here. But in principle, I would say I would go there, but you know, if I can find a way to get that knight there, that looks pretty juicy. Knight G, you know, if knight's moved, could move like that for one move, which you can't, then revert to the original power, that'd be a checkmate. So, while Black's ahead in development, I don't like retreating the queen. I mean, perfectly good move, but why retreat? You know, now now White's catching up in development, and we lose the chance to pin this bishop. So, you know, what's White going to do? We don't know. Let's say he develops his bishop. Where are you going to put it? Okay, let's put it here. Look, I got a pin. You know, we guard the pin. You know, Black is doing fine. This bishop at least is protected for the moment, but at the wrong moment, it could get deflected. We have to be careful. So, I don't know. I wouldn't play queen d8. And, you know, White's caught up in development. The back ranks are almost an entire match. The difference is the position of the 2 kings. And, you know, from 2.5 tempos up to half a tempo up, that's quite a change. Okay, piling up on the pin piece. And for what it's worth, White got the bishop pair. And the game looks about even. Now maybe after e5, maybe do this. Now, who's mating whom? That's an old saying. You know, which bishop is stronger for a mating attack? Well, I think the white squared bishop is stronger for a mating attack, although the dark squared bishop of Black's is well posted. They both have good bishops, but this gives White some winning chances, and it does give Black a permanent weakness. He has double pawns, an isolated pawn on h6. You know, White definitely gets some winning chances with that move. Now it's too late. And white elects to take an isolated e-pawn. So the game still looks about even. And now just a bunch of trades. And white has one weakness. Isolated pawn on e4. And why does he let us work down on the 7th rank? So black is close to a win here. Now, this weakness is not going anywhere right now. In other words, we can go probably win it. But while black is winning that pawn, suddenly these guys are coming up the board. So let's think about. Let's get rid of the arrows. I'm going to try to make a point here. A couple points. One I already made. The e4 pawn isn't going away. I know ND. I think he probably went after it, but I'm going to give a different approach. White has a potential pass pawn down here. But to do that, he has to get this pawn here first, right? So it's going to take white 1, 2, 3, 4 moves just to force a pass pawn. So one of the things that could work here for black is we'll consider what we call the rule of the square. Now, what's the rule of the square? Yeah, some of you know. This is the candidate pass pawn. Assuming these guys aren't on the board, that's a pass pawn, right? Well, we draw probably the simplest way is make a triangle first, and then complete the square. And the rule of the square says if the king steps inside that square, and he's already in the square, he catches the pass pawn. So if black stops and wins a pawn or two, or wins that pawn on e4, it takes him 2 moves to take it. Let's see what happened. Then we'll come back and talk about this. See, I don't think this is the right choice. Now comes b4. It should come. If not, we'll analyze it. No, you didn't play it right. Okay. Now, here we go. Now it's time to activate the rook. Okay, now maybe you want to bring the king in. None of this is forced. I'm just, this is tough. Now, this is tied down, and the king has to march over in order to chop it off. That's 4 moves just to take the pawn. 4 moves, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here comes a king down black's throat. And if you drop this pawn on e5, black probably doesn't have enough to win. So the secret is to just bring the king over. Keep the king in the square well ahead of time, because the king fell out of the square in the line I just gave. Okay, I mean, this is playable, and black still has an advantage. Now, maybe his choice was okay here. I was focused on trying to make a pass pawn, but this does create threats. White is saying, if you take my pawn, I'm going to check you, and I'm going to fork your pawns. I'm going to put the rook on c7 and target. And White doesn't even check him. He could have driven the king out. And did the game end here? No. Okay. So, yeah. The old rule is you want your rook behind pawns, your pawns, your opponent's pawns. I don't see, White didn't get his rook behind the pawn. Black has an advantage here, but it's enough to win. Now here, I wouldn't run that pawn so quickly. That leg is not backing up. Now the hourglass thing is hovering. I see some comments. I don't know, so I can't answer every comment. At least I'm broadcasting. Okay, a5. Now, instead of playing e4, we got to activate the king, but unfortunately, f7 needs protection, but maybe we can give it up. What if we trade this pawn for this pawn? We still have a pass pawn. White still has drawing chances. But the way I see is to play f6 and activate the king. Okay, let's see what happens.
Check.
Now he's driving the king to come up and menace this. So here, white has got his king in the game, and black hasn't. Now, this is probably a draw. That is a mistake. Why is that a mistake? He's just weakening his pawns. Now, maybe white thinks, well, if I trade my 2 pawns for 2 of his, it's a draw. Well, he's right, but is there a rule that says black has to trade pawns? No. Okay, let's go forward. Those pawns are not looking good. But unfortunately, black's pawn structure isn't looking good either. So I don't see how black makes progress here now. That rook is too strong on
Check.
the 7th. And now we got to be careful.
Check.
Yeah, it's a draw here. I guess they're going to agree to a draw here. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, that was that game. Now, black definitely had some winning chances. Well played by black. A couple of things I would have done differently, but overall, good game. Okay. Now I have one more game from Knife Fighter. I'm going to bring it up here. I'll go through this real quick. I'm going to take a break. I know it's a quick game. So, wait, I have to do something.